but 1 month after Stephen Paddock unleashed a hail of bullets onto the crowd at the Route 91 Harvest Music Festival from the windows of his 32nd floor suite at the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino in Las Vegas, killing 58 people and injuring more than 540 in the worst mass shooting in the nation's modern history, the investigation of the crime seems frozen in time. The lack of understanding is in stark contrast to Tuesday's deadly truck attack in New York City and numerous other mass killings in recent years where there were clear ideological or religious motives. It's been more than 2 weeks since officials with the Las Vegas police and the FBI briefed the public, bringing an abrupt stop to the flow of information about the case. Until then, investigators had been unusually forthcoming, holding frequent news conferences in the days after the shooting. They released video from police body cameras and put forward police officers who told harrowing accounts of responding to the scene and closing in on the hotel room from which Paddock had unleashed his horror. But then there were a series of missteps, including the release of a timeline of the shooting that turned out to be wrong. The last time Clark County Sheriff Joe Lombardo, who has been the face of the investigation, spoke publicly about the case was October 13, when he went before reporters to correct a comprehensive timeline of the shooting he had released previously. But in doing so, Lombardo only raised more questions about his department's handling of the investigation. A month later, it's still unclear why it took officers 12 minutes after the shooting began to reach the hotel's 32nd floor, where the gunman's suite was located, and why it took more than an hour after the shooting stopped for cops to enter the room. According to the latest timeline released in the case, Campos first discovered something was amiss on the 32nd floor around 9:59 that night, when he found a stairwell door near Paddock's room barricaded with a metal bar. At the time, Campos later told authorities, he heard the sounds of what he thought was a power drill, which he found unusual. He went down to the 31st floor and took another route up to the 32nd floor. Police originally said Campos interrupted the shooting, bringing the deadly rampage to a stop. But now they say Paddock stopped firing on his own. Why? It's one of the many enduring mysteries of the case and one that Lombardo has said may never be answered. Another mystery surrounds Mary Lou Danley, the gunman's longtime girlfriend, who was visiting family in the Philippines when Paddock carried out his rampage. Officials quickly described her as a person of interest in the case, in part because Paddock reportedly wired her $100,000 days before the shooting. In a statement released by her attorney, Danley, who returned to the U.S. on October 3, insisted she knew nothing of Paddock's plans and said she believed the money he sent her was a way of breaking up with her. The Clark County coroner has completed an autopsy on Paddock. The agency and police have declined to elaborate on what, if anything, was found except to say there was no obvious abnormalities of his brain. Paddock's brain was scheduled to be sent this week to a laboratory at Stanford University, where doctors will perform further forensic analysis, including tissue testing, to look for neurological problems, though medical experts have said it's unlikely that will provide an explanation for the rampage. While Las Vegas officials say they will again brief the public on the case when there is something new to report, some revelations could come through civil lawsuits against Paddock's estate and the casino's parent company, MGM Resorts. At least 2 suits have been filed so far, including one class action case representing 10 victims. Among other things, the investigators have sought to uncover information from Mandalay Bay, which has repeatedly declined to comment, citing the ongoing investigation. The victims want access to hotel records, including video, which might offer clues about Paddock's actions. He checked into the casino on September 25, nearly a week before the attack, and witnesses have told police they saw him playing video poker in the casino. Police have said they believe he left the casino and returned to his home in Mesquite, Nevada, about 90 minutes west of Las Vegas, at least once that week, and may have visited other casinos on the Las Vegas Strip. Lombardo has already said there were no cameras near Paddock's room, only in near the elevator banks down the hall. but officers have said they found evidence that the gunman had been drilling holes in the wall, including one near the front door of his suite, raising questions about his intents and whether staff or other guests reported hearing power tools noise in Paddock's room or in the hallway where he barricaded the door. On Tuesday, attorneys and legal experts for the victims gained access to the Route 91 site for the first time, walking the grounds from which personal belongings have been removed, but the concert stage and other fixtures have been left untouched. The legal experts and attorneys are expected to gain access to Paddock's suite at the Mandalay Bay Hotel in coming days.